Hello guys, welcome to the Football Draft. You're here with James, Ben and Ross. Give us a follow if you're on Spotify, subscribe if you're on iTunes or YouTube. We also have a very special guest on today, Laert from RossonAri TV.
Yes, as James said, today we have a guest on this edition of the Football Draft. His name is Laert and he works for RossonAri TV. You can find him on Twitter at RossonAri TV. So I'm going to hand it to Laert and we'll lead us on to the first topic. So Laert, what did you make of the AC Milan and United game on Thursday night?
Hi guys, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. And talking about the game from Thursday, first of all, it was quite emotional, finally, to play against a big team in Europe again, after, I think, 6 years for AC Milan. And especially coming back to Old Trafford is it's like home for us, because we beat Juventus in 2003. So it's like for you guys beating Liverpool probably in, in Wembley. So it's a big thing. So we love always to come back to that stadium. And Manchester United is a great opponent. It's always fun to play against them, always fun to try to beat them. And that was fun. I enjoyed the game. But yeah, it was a 1-1, a lot of, controversial, the VAR and stuff like that. But fair enough, the VAR sometimes, it's not clear. But if I was the referee, I would have given the handball there. It was quite misleading, I would say. But it was a good game. I enjoyed it as an AC Milan fan. What about you guys? What do you think about the game? You enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. The controversy over the handball was... It definitely did cause a lot of arguments online, and people kind of maybe discussed it in a way at the officials, thinking that it definitely wasn't a handball, and they've ruled out a perfectly good goal for Kessie and Milan. But overall, with everything happening in the game, I would have said that a draw was a fair result. Milan definitely did enough in the game to deserve a goal, even though it came right at the end, which was frustrating for a United fan. But I definitely would have said that 1-1 was a fair result, and it means it's all to play for in the second leg.
I like that you mentioned Kessie there. I'm really impressed with his overall play, and Ben showed me like a tweet earlier of like Kessie. He's so humble. I think he was asked like, why do you run so much every game? And he was like, look, I'm here to play football. I enjoy football, and in Africa, like people would walk miles before they can like get food, basically. And it just shows me like Kessie is a player that I think I would personally love at Arsenal, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. And I mean, I think he deserved the goal in the opening couple of minutes. I think it was very unfair that it got ruled out. I know from one angle it really looked like it was a handball, and then from another one it really didn't. So you can tell the sort of confusion there. But, he does seem like a player with a really good attitude. And to have him at AC Milan, it's a great advantage going in now to the second leg. And part of me thinks that we are on the back foot now almost with Milan having an away goal. I am a wee bit concerned that we could go to Italy and all they need is really a goal and they're on their way. So that's why I worry a little bit about this game. With the likes of Kessie there, and there's some great players in that squad, and perhaps if Zlatan is back for the second half, he could cause some danger. But yeah, it'll be an interesting watch, definitely.
I would say about Kessie, it's like in football you have players like Kessie. They can play for AC Milan forever, and it's not about money. It's about being in a big club and playing big games. And on the other side, you have Donnarumma that's asking that 7 million is not enough. He wants 10, and he wants this and he wants that. So it's so hard in football nowadays to kind of get that right balance, have that right squad where everyone is in love with the team. Everyone is proud to play for AC Milan or Manchester United in that case, or Arsenal. Unfortunately, like I would say 20 years ago, all the 11, 15 players in Manchester and in AC Milan, they were loving to play for that team. And no matter the money, they were earning enough and they were in love to that. Now, everyone is asking for more and more and more. So it's a bit complicated now to build a strong team, a strong group. So
yeah, I get what you mean. And I mean, it's I think that's reflective of the game changing. With everything, football's becoming bigger and bigger, and it's, earning more money. It's becoming more about money. You made a good point there about players back then not really caring too much about the money, because it was more about the way you played football. But you see less and less of those players who play football purely for the football. So it's really rare that you get a great player, and I know in our case Bruno Fernandes definitely he definitely has that that work ethic. So I think it's important that you build a squad of those players. And I mean, me and Ben have talked about this, that United in the transfer window now need to be looking at more of players of Bruno's quality, not only of his quality but of his attitude. And again, Kessie is a great example of that. He has a great attitude as well. He's a humble guy. He's just a guy that loves his football. So having those players in your team's always going to help when it comes to game time. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Ross mentioned earlier that he thinks AC Milan now have the advantage going into the second leg with that really late equaliser. Does that make things significantly harder? Do you think it's still all to play for? I mean, obviously it's 1-1, there's all to play for, but it must have been really gutting to see that go in, especially. Ross and Ben don't want me to mention this, but I'm going to have to. Dean Henderson, I think, has to save that.
It's a difficult one, because I think maybe Man United, when the corner was given at the end of the game, I think in their minds they thought that was it done, and they'd secured a 1-0 win to take into the second leg. So it's almost like the defending that I saw, and even the keeper, I don't think they were even prepared to defend it, or they were even in the right mindset to defend it, because it looked like, from my perspective anyway, I don't know if I'm just trying to make excuses for the goal that we conceded, but it just seemed to be that the team were settled at 1-0, and they thought the game was over, and they were just thinking, oh, it's just a corner, it'll be easy, we can just get rid of this, and that's it done. But then obviously Milan scored, and I mean, in fairness to them, they took their chance. It was a free header that United should have defended much better for. And then the keeper again should have saved it, like you said, James. But I don't know. I don't want to blame just the keeper, because the defending as well was very poor.
Yeah.
They just didn't seem to be prepared for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that at the time everyone was blaming Dino for the way that he, the save that arguably, yes, he should have made. But, McTominay didn't track his runner, and I watched him from the outside of the corner, because I could feel something bad. It felt like one of those games where the goal was going to go in. I was just surprised that it actually happened. But, I saw McTominay not tracking his runner, and we were punished for it. So I don't think there's any point in blaming Henderson for the save that he should have or shouldn't have made. It's one of those things that our defence need to be better, and we have that's what I've always credited United with, and I'm sure Laert, you would credit Milan with the same thing. You keep going until the whistle blows, and that's something that United are so relentless with. We keep going, and Milan caught us sleeping on that corner, and Milan are a very good side. You can't actually rule them out. And so, yes, I agree with what James said earlier, that Milan did deserve a goal after the pressing that they did and the goals that they got disallowed. They really should have got a goal, and they did. So I couldn't really argue with that. It just left a really bitter taste in my mouth, knowing that we could have left the game arguably not the better team, but tactically maybe the team that walked out with 3 points. Do you know what I mean? Or we walked out with a win. I just think that really we should have walked out there the winners. But it's one of those things, you have to go to Milan and deal with that. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I watched the game, and I think both the two goals, there was mistakes from the keepers. Even Donnarumma was a bit out of position. I think he could have done better. But you have to think these guys are really young, and when you are like 90 minutes on your nerve, concentrated, trying to don't make a mistake and try to be focused, you just lose it for a second, and you lose the game, or you get a goal. So I cannot blame a young player that actually giving everything for a small mistake, because at the end it's a small mistake, especially for the Manchester United keeper. I mean, it's 90 minutes after a tough game. AC Milan was attacking and creating, and he's there trying to focus, trying to save everything. You cannot be perfect. You're gonna.
How hard did you celebrate when it went in?
To be fair, we first of all, we didn't realize. It was like kind of a surprise. It was like, wow, we got a goal last minute. We were like almost kind of a happy, like, because before the game we were like, okay, Manchester United is better than us. Probably it's gonna go really bad tonight. Can go really bad because, Manchester United, when they counter-attack, they go and they can score. And fair enough, they had quite good chances, so they could have got 2-0 easily, even without having the game in control. So when the goal came, it was like, wow, we scored, unbelievable. So I didn't have even the chance to actually shout because like, fuck, that was incredible.
So basically, you went into the game thinking, you know what, I'll be very happy with like a 1-0 away. We'll
yeah,
go home
exactly, and try
and,
to win it in Milan. And imagine me sitting here relaxed. I didn't realize about the goal. Imagine the keeper, poor guy, just came there in like last second.
He was more relaxed than you. That's why I went.
Probably. Oh, he was so tired. 90 minutes there, and the keeper is the loneliest person in the pitch. He's alone. He's alone.
And that's why I'm really reluctant to blame him outright for what happened. And you see the sort of reactionary fans on Twitter, and you have to just ignore them. The idea, bring De Gea back, and people. It drives me crazy. But it's one mistake, and someone tweeted that night, Dino's made his first mistake. Welcome to Manchester United. That sort of But listen, I don't think it's any conversation about replacing him because, to be honest, I'm really glad that he's got these consecutive starts. He could be our number one next season, and more and more I kind of hope he is because he really deserves first team football. He deserves that. He's a quality keeper, and he deserves that first team football with Man United. So. Yeah, I mean, he made one mistake in a crucial game. It's just one of those things that happens. So we'll just go to Milan now and not make any more mistakes. So,
are you happy with Milan's season, Laert? Second in the Serie A with 56 points. Unfortunately for you, yesterday was not the best day. 1-0 loss against Napoli.
Well, that's fine. Napoli is a tough game always, but. I'm happy with the season, yeah. Because our goal was top 4, so we are there. I'm not happy Inter winning the league. That's awful. But what you can do. It's better than probably Juventus winning for 10 times. So it's like you're in between two fires. So you're gonna get burned anyway. And we don't have a strong team to win it anyway. So. I was ready for this. It's always painful, but I was ready for this. And the problem for me is that AC Milan doesn't have any money. So we're going hopefully, in the Champions League next season. Probably with the same squad, maybe a bit better. And I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be really hard. That's going to be tough. So hopefully maybe we find some money around.
You can have Lucas Torreira for 25 million if you want.
Well... 25 million is a lot. I can get a lot better for that. But let's see. The Maldini is good. Maldini is good at his job. Maldini, as we were talking before starting the podcast, Gazidis is really bad, but Maldini is teaching him how to do this job. So hopefully.
You don't like Gazidis either?
No, I mean, it's not I don't like him. It's just he comes from the MLS, and he's kind of a corporate man, so he works by the book, but football is
businessman.
Yeah, it's a businessman, but football is kind of a mafia. You see what Bayern Monaco does? They just buy a player, like not asking anyone, to just get the player from another team in the middle of the season. So football is not a fair game when it's about business. So you cannot deal with Real Madrid, Barcelona, or other team, Juventus. They take all the best players in Italy. You need to be a bit dodgy. You need to be Italian.
What do you guys make of the United game yesterday against West Ham? 1-0 on paper. It doesn't seem like that exciting, was it?
No, it wasn't an overly exciting game. I mean, we got the 3 points, and that's all you can really ask for. But I thought for the team that West Ham put out, and I mean, Noble in the middle of the park, he's a granddad. Like, we really should have taken the game by the throat better than we did. And I know it's an own goal, but really it's not really an own goal because McTominay's header was going to go in anyway. But at the same time, we should have walked in there and taken the game by the throat, and we could have scored more. Like Greenwood had some great chances, great saves by Fabianski, but at the same time, I think we didn't really press them enough. And I think West Ham really set up for United to attack them so much so that they could then hit them on the counter. But even so, I wouldn't really have worried too much about that, because West Ham don't have Lingard, obviously, because he's on loan from us, but they didn't actually have that attacking threat. And so because they didn't have that, I think we should have taken the game by the throat more and sort of proved ourselves. It's a great result. I'm not gonna, I mean, it's a great result because we really could have drawn that game. So we've gone back over Leicester now. We're second place, so I'm happy. But at the same time, I think I still worry, and I'm going to ask Ben about this. The sloppy passing and the lack of passing accuracy from some of our players. I noticed that a lot from Bruno Fernandes, who I absolutely love. But they're, especially from the midfield, some of our passing is absolutely dreadful. And I think that needs really to be improved. So I mean, Ben, would you agree, or what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. When I watched the game, like you said, we didn't seem to be pressing that much. Like compared to City last weekend, like we were all over City. We were constantly pressing, and you actually saw, like, I know it was a derby game, so you'd expect it anyway, but like an actual passion to press and to win the ball and try to be clinical when they get the ball, which they were. Obviously, they got the important goals they needed at the perfect times in the game. But the game against West Ham, people always know, and they've always said Bruno Fernandes is going to be a risk and reward player. But recently, it's the risk he's taken is meant that he's losing the ball more than you saw before. Like, he would make those kind of passes before, but he'd be making some of them, and they would lead to goals. But now our midfield, I notice it from Fred a lot as well. They just lose the ball. The passes are inaccurate, and it just causes us problems because Greenwood and Rashford and James, they were making runs that game. James especially, I was actually impressed with the runs he was making, even though he didn't make a good impact in terms of creating chances or taking chances. The runs he was making, I was impressed with, because you didn't see that last season.
So I get what you mean, but I mean, that's all he does. I mean, I would honestly have rather have seen Diallo there play instead. And I know he's a young kid, but at the same time, he makes more of an impact than Dan James. Dan's capable of an occasional goal, but all he does is run, and he just runs into situations, gets dispossessed, and then gives the opposition that chance to counter. So I think he's more of a liability than a resource, to be honest. That's just me. He's very pacey, and I get why we play him, but at the same time, I'd rather sacrifice a bit of pace and bring on someone like Diallo or someone like that. And I think what people don't seem to be talking about is that we actually are suffering now from a good lot of injuries. You look at the likes of Pogba and Van de Beek and Cavani and players that
as if Van de Beek was going to play anyway.
Yeah, players that actually do make an impact, and we're missing them at the minute. So as much as I would criticise United sometimes for their passing accuracy, I think we're losing some of that creativity, especially in Pogba, and to be honest, in Cavani, because Cavani makes things happen. So I think we're missing that at the minute, but we will get it back. So I'm not too worried long term, but I just think, and especially now that Cavani's going to Boca Juniors now at the end of the summer, it's looking like. So, I think we're missing a bit of that. So I'm not going to slate them too much, but we do need to improve that passing accuracy, especially heading to Milan now on Thursday. We really need to take that game by the throat. So we'll just see if it happens.
Do you guys think Bruno Fernandes in for a shout for player of the year?
Oh yeah,
player of the season.
Oh yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean, he's been unreal. I mean, him and Luke Shaw should be up for it, really. Bruno just mildly better just because of the amount of goal contributions, but definitely Bruno, definitely.
Can I just run that back? You think Luke Shaw might win player of the season?
I put him up for it. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I mean, you name me a better left back. Sorry, let me open it up. You name me a better defender in the Premier League at the minute, better than Luke Shaw.
Right, Laert, I'm not sure if you're aware, but in the last episode, Ross was saying he thinks Luke Shaw is
No, I know.
at the moment, the best left back in Europe.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen recently Manchester United, but he's performing pretty well. I've seen some highlights, and I saw like 70 minutes of the derby as well. And I would say Luke Shaw cares about the team. He gives everything for Manchester United. So I don't know about the best defender of the season because Man City is doing pretty well defensively, so probably they have some credits as well. Or Chelsea is basically going for a lot of clean sheets and basically 12 games without losing, something like that. So, but at the end, doesn't really matter. It's not important. I think Luke Shaw, if he's the best at Man United, that's the most important thing. Because you cannot really decide who is the best of the season, who is the player of the season, or the best defender of the season. It's really hard because there are not horses running and who's going to get first. It's really hard to understand. I think there are different players as well. You see Cancelo plays in a different way as Luke Shaw plays. And Cancelo is not going to get a ball at Manchester United. He's going to be shit if he plays for Manchester United because he doesn't know where to put the ball. Luke Shaw is actually performing for Manchester United because he runs, he's tough, he fights, he goes to the end and crosses. So they are different players and they are perfect for their teams. But yeah, he can be the top three for sure. Because he's second position as well. So
yeah,
definitely.
But I make no exaggeration. I'm not saying this for dramatic effect. Zinchenko hasn't. Zinchenko, Man City's left back. You can't say he's been better than Luke Shaw.
No,
Luke Shaw.
He's not better.
Exactly.
No, because he's playing in a better team, but he's not better than Luke Shaw.
Well, that's true. Yeah, City have more quality than us, but that means that Zinchenko maybe doesn't get to shine maybe that as much as he would because he has so much quality. Whereas Luke Shaw is playing with a couple of donkeys at the back, Maguire and Lindelof. Honestly, he shines through so much, and you can tell in all these tactics that we are in our attack. We're veering down the left. Do you know what I mean? We're using that left flank to open up. You look at the goal against City. Dino hits a throw out to Shaw. Shaw makes the run, pass to Rashford, pass back to Shaw, and goal. That's just an exemplary example of what Luke Shaw can do and how we're veering to that left side. So I make no exaggeration. Best left back in Europe, and he should be up for player of the season.
I'm a big fan of Alfonso Davies from Bayern Munich.
He's good. You forgot about him.
Yeah, he's good, but in current form, I don't think you would argue with me that Luke Shaw is just a bit better. In current form, I'm not.
If I offered you right now, Ross, and I said Bayern Munich straight swap Alfonso Davies, would you take it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, Luke Shaw, man. I mean, you'd be a fool at the minute.
Does he have your nudes or something?
Sorry, excuse me. Luke Shaw, I'm telling you, Luke Shaw has spent so many years at Man United and he's been so unlucky, so many injuries. He's come back fighting even harder and he loves the badge. He's just a great left back. He's a great player. He's got a great attitude, what we were talking about earlier. He has a great attitude and he loves playing for the badge. So to me, really, he's the best left back in Europe at the minute. Now, I'm not saying that by the end of the season he's going to make it under the World XI. I'm not saying any of that, which he should though. But at the same time, I think he definitely should be up for it. Because, you look at most big chances created this season. There was a wee graphic in Sky Sports yesterday. He's created the most chances in the Premier League this season. He's beaten Andrew Robertson by 50. Champions League winner Andrew Robertson. He's beaten him by 5. So best left back in the league and in Europe at the minute.
He's a good player. He's a good player. Did any of you watch the North London derby at all yesterday? Really nervy for me for sure, especially conceding first with an Eric Lamela Rabona. Like, what on earth is going on? Between Thomas Partey's legs, I was like, what is happening?
That was a crazy goal. I mean, so unfortunate the stadium was empty. Imagine 60,000 people watching that goal. People dropping the beer or something like that. People thinking like, it's really happening. When I saw the goal, I was like, is that actually happening? It's real. Because it was so smooth. And it was, I don't know, I haven't seen. I don't think I'm gonna see something like that. And yeah, Tottenham is a weird beast, like Arsenal as well, because Arsenal can play great some days, and some days is like, what's going on with the guys? So it's weird. And the only problem for Tottenham, in my opinion, is Mourinho. I think Mourinho is too defensive. He needs to just.
You're not a fan of Mourinho?
I'm not. I mean, I respect the manager. I mean, he's a great manager and he knows to do his job. But I wouldn't want him for an AC Milan manager. I want to attack. I want to dominate the game. And every supporter wants that from their team. Everyone is saying, "Oh, I want to win." But at the end of the thing, I want to dominate. I want to see the other supporter being scared, and And Tottenham has great player. I mean, Harry Kane, Bale, Lucas Moura, and Dele Alli. I mean, those are great players, man. You can really play well. Arsenal has a lot of young players. And I think Arteta is trying to be too clever, in my opinion. He just needs to come back to the basics and just, be a easy and simple manager, not a Guardiola type. A Guardiola type, you need great players, you need a lot of work, you need a lot of patience, you need a supporter that actually loves you and they're actually patient to be a great manager.
A lot of money as well.
Yeah, a lot of money. And you need, like, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 fullbacks and 4 or 5 center backs and how many goalkeepers. So you need like 2 squads to perform in the Guardiola type of management.
Being able to bring on Aguero or Bernardo Silva on in like the 70th minute is a type of squad.
Yeah, and
dream of.
That's the thing. If you don't have that, you need to be a manager type of Pioli that actually has 12, 15 players and he's just making the most out of them. He's not a great manager. He's not making anything clever. He's just doing the basics.
I mean, there was weird energy even from before the game because Arteta left Aubameyang out of the squad, out of for starting 11 because apparently he didn't follow some guidelines. However, this morning I read on Twitter and there was a picture of Aubameyang stuck in traffic in his supercar yesterday at like 1 p.m. So apparently that was the reason. And then very early on in the game, Heung-min Son got injured. And they substituted Lamela, who actually ended up scoring, which was quite a coincidence, really. But something the commentator mentioned that was quite funny was Lamela was the Gareth Bale replacement when he left for Real Madrid, and now they're playing together.
That's insane. Going back to Aubameyang, I don't like this thing. In 2021, that approach of a manager that used to be in the 80s, you come late, 15 minutes, you're going to stay in the bench. You're not playing today. You need to be flexible. You're having a tough season. And, you can always say, oh, today it's not because you're late. You shouldn't be late, but I'm going to play Lacazette. Just made it like this. So even the press doesn't talk about it. It's more clever to make it like, I'm not punishing you. I'm just choosing Lacazette. And don't come late anymore because it's disrespectful with your teammates. I'm sure Aubameyang is not an awful person. He has a great relationship with his teammate. And nobody's going to be, oh, look at this idiot coming 15 minutes late again or something like that. So just be more smart, clever. Because the press in England is going to kill you. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your job. So do it for you at least. But yeah, that's... and Mourinho is really bad at that. Keeping Bale for a half season in the bench because he's like, I don't want Bale in my squad. Why you brought it here? I'm going to keep it in the bench. And Bale is actually playing well and he has to put it in now. He cannot do anything.
I mean, I know Lampard tried to, and he did for a while when he was manager, have that those disciplinary sort of measures in place. Did you see that that picture? It was like 10,000 fine, £10,000 or something if you're late to training and if you're late for team meetings and stuff. I mean, to be honest, I thought it was quite a good idea because he was ruling with an iron fist. I mean, you can only respect that, but I mean, clearly it hasn't worked out for him. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe a manager being more flexible is the is the way to go. I like the point you made though about that idea of pure football, just back down to basics. And arguably, yeah, maybe Arteta's trying to be too clever and that's not working out for him. So maybe he should, work with the quality of players he's got. I don't think, personally for me, Arsenal have a lot of quality in their team. I think they are in a lot of ways a very average side. So I think Arteta needs to work that through. Get back down to basics and become just a simple manager, but then use this transfer window now in the summer to buy more quality and work up to that stage instead of trying to jump there, without the quality of player behind you, the likes of Guardiola and Klopp. Get back down to basics. You make a good point there.
Yeah. Do you think Leno and Xhaka can play the ball deep, on the defensive side, on the way Man City plays the ball? No. So don't ask them to do that type of game. Play simple. Just play simple and fast and counter-attack, or maybe instinctive, or keep the ball, but don't ask those difficult, situations, because they are dangerous. And you got a lot of goals because you wanted the goalkeeper to be a playmaker. That's not going to happen. You don't have that goalkeeper. So just give up that strategy.
Yeah, it's been something that I've seen that's cost Arsenal a few goals with errors just from trying to play at the back. It's happened with Leno, Xhaka, David Luiz. I think they are trying to. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, but it seems like they're just trying to replicate what City can do when they're able to play at the back and beat any team's high press and then play on from there when they have the space in the midfield to go and attack fast and with the quality they have. Man City normally punish you, but with Arsenal it seems to be that when they try to play at the back, as soon as there's a bit of press, and then they seem to panic. They don't seem to know what to do 100%. So it leads to errors that lead to goals, like with Xhaka and Leno, that little incident that happened against Burnley. And there's other examples as well. So, I mean, it was good that it didn't happen yesterday, because obviously it was a derby game. It was a big game. So it was good it didn't happen yesterday. But I think it's an issue that needs to be fixed, because Arteta must have seen it enough times this season where he's starting to get frustrated, and he either needs to change his ways or get it to a position where that doesn't happen when they play at the back.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because as a manager, do you think to yourself, right, I'd rather lose and stick to my philosophy, or do I win and change the culture at the club that I don't really feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Bielsa. He's been a manager this season. It's always been he's sticking to his philosophy, and no matter what happens, it's just how he is. Like, you've seen Leeds win 4-0 this season, and you've seen them get beat 4-0 this season, and he doesn't change. It's just the way he wants to set up the team. It's the way he knows. It's the way he's always been. So you could say that Arteta could do that, and it could come around to be good, but I don't know if he's that type of manager or whatever. To me, I think it's still early enough to say that you don't know fully what style Arteta wants to create at Arsenal.
Yeah, I think as a manager, you are getting paid to manage 22 players, so to understand their quality and to make them look good in the market. So even if you don't want those players, at least I can sell them and give you something better. So if you put Xhaka ask him to play like Pirlo, I'm going to give that player for free, because he's always going to lose the ball. If you ask him to play like Gattuso, fight and get back the ball and play simple, probably I'm going to manage to sell Xhaka and bring you Pirlo in the next season. If you give value to those players, I'll give you. So you need to get the most of the players you have. I understand your philosophy. Arteta is 40 years old. He's going to manage for at least 25 years. He has time to show his philosophy and his ideas. Now he needs to show how good he is with people, how good he is with players, how good he can bring money to the club and make the club go from 8th position to top 4. And you go top 4, you're Arsenal, you have a stadium with 60,000 people, you have a club in London where everyone wants to live in London. You can get all the players you want after, but first you need to give, and after you can ask. I think that's the great thing. For example, coming back, Pioli is doing to AC Milan. Kessie wasn't performing before. Now Kessie is performing. And now Kessie has a market. Now everyone wants Kessie. We're not going to sell, hopefully. But other big players can say, oh, I want to go and play there because there is good players there. It's a good team. They have good ideas. They want to sign for AC Milan. I don't want to sign for Arsenal. It's a big mess over there. The guy comes late and he's not playing. Oh my God, I usually go late sometimes. I'm not going to play in that club. Because I'll tell you something. Ronaldo, the Brazilian, he was coming 1 hour late with Inter Milan in the late 90s, early 2000. And he was playing any game and he was winning. So sometimes some players, not everyone is like Ronaldo and Messi. Perfect. Coming on time, training every time. There is difficult players. You need to deal with them because there are assets of your club. And need to make the most out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point there about, teams need to create that environment of quality and that idea of like an attractiveness of coming to a certain team. I mean, you look at what Liverpool did there last season with, the Premier League and stuff. Players like Thiago wanted to work with Klopp, and they saw the manager, they saw the good that he's done, and it made Liverpool into this massive team again that attracts talent and attracts good quality players. And I think that's what Arteta needs to work at. So as much as we've said about the transfer window, maybe looking at this window to be good for them, I don't think that Arsenal are an attractive team at the minute. So what they need to work on, it's a vicious cycle, you see, because you can't obviously get out of that rut until you have quality players. So they need to be very careful in this transfer window to get players who will take them from where they are, make them a top 4 team again, even the top 5 team, and work the way up again to try and attract that those quality players. But it is going to be a long journey, and I just hope Arsenal stick with Arteta, because to be honest, I think he's the man to do it. To be honest, but that's just me.
I think he's the man to do it, but I don't think I agree that Arsenal aren't an attractive club. We just brought in Thomas Partey, and we also just brought in Martin Odegaard, who is dubbed as one of the best youngsters in the world. So I don't think that's an issue for us. I think we're capable of bringing in high-profile names. I just think the issue is that we're not bringing in the players that necessarily fit our style and are just high-profile names. Mm-hmm. So hopefully Arteta, I think, should be better at bringing in players that suit his style rather than players that are simply big names. Does that make sense?
No, I get what you mean about that, but at the same time, and maybe I'm just biased United fan, and feel free to call me to say I'm wrong, but I just think that there are a lot of other teams in England that are more favourable than yourselves, just purely for where you are in this moment in time. And I don't think that you haven't been successful in these past few years. So I think there are other teams that players would prefer to go to as opposed to yourselves. But it's just, I think yous are building towards something now that yous maybe haven't been for a couple of years. So you yourself as an Arsenal fan hopefully will be thinking that next season you would love 4th or 5th, and Europa League football would be great for yous. I mean, you beat Olympiacos there the other night, which was great. So I mean, winning a trophy would be great for yous and would attract some talent. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of Europa League, we have the second leg coming up this Thursday, of course. AC Milan at home to Manchester United with an away goal. What do you make of that, guys? Laert, you want to go first? Excited? Nervous?
I'm quite old, so I don't care about the Europa League. I grew up watching AC Milan win in Champions League, so I feel like Europa League is the ugly sister of the Champions League. So, and I think sometimes it's just in the way it gives you injuries, and and you lose points in the league. So for a team that actually is in a transition period and is building up a squad, it's better not to be in Europa League. So I would be really happy if AC Milan wins against Man United and go further in Europa League, because I'm a supporter. I want to see them win, even in a fucking, I don't know, exhibition game. I don't care. Friendly game. But if I lose and we go out, I'm happy, probably at the same level, because I feel like we have so many injuries. We need to focus the next 11 games just on the league, win all the games we can win, secure the second position or top 4 and be ready for the Champions League.
You guys are actually in the same situation. AC Milan and United, both second place in the league table. Juventus have a game in hand, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you risk trying to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League, and then you might get some injuries, or you start rotating players, and then you start to slip out of the top 4 in your Premier League or Serie A? You know, it's a risk. Which one do you want to take?
I mean, for me anyway, I think you take the risk. I think United are crying out for silverware, and I think that Ollie needs it for his job. And I mean, you hear talks now about a new contract that's worth £9 million being dealt up and being released in the summer. But I don't know. I just think he needs silverware, to be honest, to prove himself as a manager. And to prove that he is the man maybe to take us through. You know, I personally don't believe he's the manager to take us through, but I would love nothing more than to be proved wrong. I just think that at this moment in time, Man United, as I say, are crying out for silverware. So to go, and I think you're worth the risk, because after seeing United yesterday and seeing the teams below us, I don't really think there's a massive risk of us dropping out of the top 4. You know, we could be 3rd or 4th. I wouldn't rule that out, but I just think personally it's worth maybe dropping down to 3rd or 4th with a title in our hands than 2nd place and dropping out of the Europa League. I don't think it's worth it. And the way Leicester are looking at the minute, I do highly doubt the the other trophies that we could get. So listen, I'm not sure, but I would lean with going for the Europa League and then seeing if we could still stay in the top 4.
After yesterday's win, I saw other fans say as well, they think that that's pretty much top 4 secured, that I think we're good enough in terms of points that we're not going to drop out of it regardless of what happens. And like Ross said as well, it's at a point now where Ollie needs a trophy and all the fans are just desperate for a trophy. Obviously he's been here for 2 years or so now, hasn't yet won a trophy. So the longer it goes on, the more chance there is of him getting the sack, or more fans calling for him to go. And even the pundits now are saying Man United must win a trophy this season, just for the sake of Ole and before the summer, because that could be a time when, with the break of football for summer, that's when more and more people are going to say, before next season we need to get a new manager in, so they can then get their transfer tags for the new season starts. So I think it is a must that United get a trophy this season. Like, I wouldn't have even cared if it was the Carabao Cup. I mean, obviously we got knocked out of that, but just a trophy, just something to give Ollie a boost, the fans a boost, just something to bring some joy to the fans after a lot of frustrating years since Fergie left. We just need to get back to winning trophies and getting used to that a feeling of being in a final and fighting for trophies properly. So I would say for sure we need to go for it in the Europa League, because if we can get past Milan, I would back us to win it, because I think Milan, like I said before in a previous episode, that I think they're the toughest opposition we could have got. So if we could get past them now, then I would back us to win it. But that's just me.
I have a question. Like, for example, I think Arsenal is more dangerous than AC Milan, because if you have to play against Arsenal next game in Europa League, Arsenal does have nothing to lose. So they're gonna play that game like it's a final. They're gonna really score the chances AC Milan didn't score. So I don't think AC Milan is the toughest team to beat in Europa League. Tottenham as well. They don't have nothing. They have just that cup to win this season. So it's gonna be really tough going forward. And the second question I want to ask you: if I was the manager of Manchester United, and I was managing Manchester United the way Ole is managing, would you sack me? Like, fire me? Because
if you hadn't played for the club before? Exactly,
and I didn't score those 2 goals in the last minutes and give you the Champions League, would you fire me in the way I'm performing the team?
No. Actually wouldn't.
Don't believe it.
I don't believe you either.
No, listen to me though. I think that Ollie has Well, I mean, in your question, you're still taking into account where you've taken the team, the signing of Bruno Fernandes, second place in the league. I mean, talking about the progress that United have made, I think it's really good progress, and I think this team is the happiest I've been with United since Ferguson left. I think me and Ben will both agree with that. It's the best that we've seen United, and I mean, listen, we still have our mistakes. We still have things that we really badly need to work on. But I think that where Ollie has taken us from where we were left, I think is really worth praising, and I don't think he gets enough praise for it. You can question his in-game tactics, you can question the substitutions that he makes, and you can even you can talk about the signings that he makes. But to be fair, the signing of Bruno Fernandes alone has single-handedly changed this team, lifted all the players up, and now we're actually fighting for. There was talk of a title challenge this year, which United have never really been talking about since Ferguson left. So I think purely for that, I think Ollie deserves all the praise. And so, in answer to your question, if that was you, me recognising that that was you that had done that, I wouldn't fire you. But obviously, you don't want to. I've always said give Ollie to May. If we don't win the Europa League this season, and even to be honest, if we go maybe third or fourth, I would be erring with right. Ollie's time as a transitional manager is done. Let's find someone who can take us to the top now. So, but providing that Ollie wins the Europa League, that he shows us that he's capable of silverware, then there's no reason to fire him. There's no reason not to back him. You have to back your manager in that instance. And if you were manager, I'd back you.
Your points are quite contradicting though, because you're saying you wouldn't fire Ole, but if he doesn't win the Europa League, you might fire him.
Well, I know. Listen, maybe I should clarify. I've always said give Ole to May. I've always seen him as a transitional manager. I don't really see him, even if he wins the Europa League, going on at United for another 5 years. So I really think that second place and no Europa League, keep him on. No third or fourth, even dipping down to fifth, and no Europa League, he has to go. But Europa League and second place is a very good season, and so you've no reason to not back him. Do you know what I mean? Without silverware this season and dipping down a couple more places, I think that isn't progress. You've gone back a wee bit, you've retracted a bit. So really, provided with all the other things that I mentioned about some of his questionable in-game tactics, I think you need to question him then moving on. But at the same time, you may question his in-game tactics, but at the very end of the season, if United win the Europa League, you say, oh well, no matter what his tactics are, we've got silverware for the first time in I don't know how long. So in that instance, you have to back the manager, and I feel as a United fan you do. But if we don't win silverware, maybe it's time for him to move on. I think it's just as simple as that, to be honest.
I want a simple yes or no. Were you Mourinho out when he was at United?
Yep.
Didn't he come second and win the Europa League?
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he had us playing negative football, and I think he had a very negative impact in the dressing room. You saw his relationship with Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba was a worse player for that. So, I get there. I know what you're trying to ask me here. I get that, and I get that I'm being a wee bit contradictory. And the idea of the emotional resonance we have with Ollie and him being a former player, I get is coming into it a wee bit. But at the same time, we are a different team now. And with Mourinho, we didn't have the likes of Bruno Fernandes. We weren't actually playing nice football. And I had this discussion with my brother there a couple of days ago. I think United do play nice football. So to me, really, looking at United and looking how far we've come, I think that we are a better team for it. Not only in what we've achieved, but in the way that we actually play. I just think we're better now than we were under Mourinho. Laert mentioned it earlier about how Mourinho sets up so defensively, and he did that with us. So really, I think in both in the way what we've achieved so far and the way we look and the signing of Bruno Fernandes, Ollie has us playing in a much better team, and he deserves to be backed, provided he wins the Europa League.
Ben, if Laert was manager of United, would you sack him?
Oh come on, back me, Ben. Come on.
Well, my issue.
I'm not getting offended. Don't worry.
Maybe I am more than I think. Looking at it more as I really want Ollie to succeed, and I want him to stay because of what he was before. So, like, for example, even if it wasn't Laert, maybe if it was just like another manager in the world, like anyone else other than Ollie, I don't know. I maybe look at it differently. Like, I couldn't have a definite answer because I wouldn't know what I would do. Because maybe my perspective would change if it's not a former player. It's hard for me to say. But
here's what I think: you wouldn't have sacked him now, but at some point from when he got the job until now, you would have sacked him at some point if he wasn't ex-United player.
I think so, because there has been a couple of times where our form's really dropped off. But I think that if it wasn't Ollie, even from the board's level, they might have sacked him. But maybe because it was Ollie, they decided to give him time. So I can agree with that. But when you asked about Mourinho in and Mourinho out, I was Mourinho out as well. And I look at it in a simple way. Would I rather have Bruno Fernandes controlling the game for us and getting us important goals or creating chances, or would I rather have Fellaini coming on in the 85th minute to win us a game against Burnley because we couldn't beat Burnley?
And see, speaking of Burnley, you talked there about about Ollie. There was times I wanted Ollie out. There was times I was really mad Ollie out, and there was, I think we got beaten, was it Burnley 2-0 at Turf Moor? I think maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a bit ago. I'm not too sure. Could be wrong, but that game anyway, we were awful. We were absolutely terrible. And I called for Ollie out. I said, listen, nothing's changing. We need a new manager. And I felt that way for months. And it's really the signing of Bruno Fernandes that turned that around for me, and that showed that, okay, one player can make such an impact. Ollie has signed that player, so we must back Ollie. And that's the way I've been ever since. Do you know what I mean? And I think you have to back the manager in that instance. But I mean, as I say, and I don't mean to repeat myself, but look at what Bruno's done for the club so far, taking us now into the Europa League. Let's see how far we get. If we win it, we have to back the manager, and that's as simple as that.
Can we get some predictions from each of you about the AC Milan United game coming up? We'll start with you, Laert.
I think it's gonna be a 1-1 and going for the extra time. So probably United is gonna win it at the extra time, something like that. So that's my prediction. What about you guys?
It's a really tough one, I think Ollie said something about Martial and De Gea maybe being ready for Thursday. I'm gonna go a 2-1 to Man United in 90 minutes. And then I think does that win it for us, or does that mean away goals? Does that mean extra time, or am I wrong? No,
you win just by the end.
I went 2-1.
Is Ibra coming back?
That for me, that's a game changer. It depends on who comes back for United, and then if Ibra comes back from Milan. If Ibra comes back from Milan and we don't get any of our other players back, then I would back Milan to win. But even if Ibra comes back, but we get De Gea, Martial, and Cavani back, I would back us to win, just because we could start, I don't know, Rashford and Greenwood, but then we could bring on Cavani and Martial and even Amad Diallo from the bench. So that I would back our strength to win us the game. So it depends on the injuries and who comes back. But if all the injuries that are supposed to be coming back, with Ibra coming back and then Martial, Cavani, De Gea coming back, then I would say, as well, the same as Ross, 2-1 to United. I would just back our strength and depth more than Milan, because like Laert's touched on before, with the manager they have right now, they're just they're keeping it to the basics with the squad they have. It's not as deep with the quality that United have. So that's the way I look at it.
Did you give a scoreline prediction?
Yeah, same as Ross. 2-1, and then for us to go.
What do you think, James?
I'm going for 2-0 AC Milan.
Oh, okay. Can't wait to prove you wrong then.
I mean, it can happen. It can happen because AC Milan has back all the players except from Ibra. I think Ibra is not gonna come back. But AC Milan has Akan Çalhanoğlu back, Rebic is back, Theo Hernandez is back. Tonali is feeling better. Probably no, Benacer is not coming back, but we have enough players. So we have our 3-4 changes. If we can make 4, I don't know how many we can make. But yeah, so it's gonna be. But I feel like the pace of Rashford is gonna just get that chance, and as soon as you score the first one, this time you're gonna score the second one. You're not gonna miss it this time. But you never know. Maybe we go 2-0 first time, and it's a different game.
Not gonna happen, man. Sorry.
I'll be honest. My prediction is more fueled by what I want to happen. Will happen. I want to see a meltdown.
I just can't wait to prove you wrong, James. I just can't wait. There's gonna be a Rashford screamer within 5 minutes, and then there's gonna be a Bruno corner for a McSauce header. That's what 2-0 or 2-1. Kessie will score another screamer or something. I don't know, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I hope it's gonna be a good game.
I think it
fun
will.
To watch.
I think now with more on the line, and after the game that it was a good game, it was a good first leg, but I think now we're going to see all, this is where, everything happens. The stakes are so high, so let's see what happens.
Interesting.
Maguire's going to play a back pass to Dean Henderson. It's going to go for his legs.
Just a wee cheeky back heel through Dino's legs. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so what about the Arsenal game? Arsenal Olympiacos. I don't really think there's any debate that Arsenal are going to go through here.
I could see maybe a 2-0, 3-0 Arsenal. Just like a good hammering. Do you know what I mean? And especially if Aubameyang, he might be itching to play. So see what happens there. But yeah, 2-0, 3-0. I think.
I think Arsenal is just gonna manage the game. They're not going for, because they already won 3-1. Yeah. So I think they're going to manage the game. I think 1-0, maybe 1-1, something like that. But I don't think they really care for the second leg. They want to try to keep some energies for the Premier League.
3 away goals as well, so there's no reason to go all out and risk it.
Probably is a good moment for Arteta to try something with players that are playing less and see what they can perform and how good they are to aim for a position, in Premier League. But yeah, it's a pretty safe position for Arsenal. Probably they're gonna win the Europa League this year.
I think so, because we.
Oh no. No.
Because it's all we have. It's all we have. Every game, like Laert said earlier, is like a cup final.
And I get that, but we're a better team. We've got better quality.
Ole doesn't have a good record against Arteta though.
Doesn't matter about records, man. That's all out the window. See when the whistle blows, 90 minutes, man, anything can happen. And you know what? I back our players. Bruno just makes everything happen. He's magic. So.
What do you mean 90 minutes against Arsenal? You're not going through against Milan anyway.
Very funny, isn't it? Right, okay. Well, do you know what? You'll have egg in your face on Thursday night, man. I am telling you. So, cannot wait for that. I'll be texting into the group. Ha, 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 ha. See, United, magic is going to happen.
After Maguire playing the pass back, going for Dean Henderson.
I can't wait for that. Cool, man.
Yeah, anyways, that's all from us here today on the football draft. It's been great having you on, Laert, today. Interesting perspective to get an AC Milan fan on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. And let's see, maybe in the future we'll do another one if AC Milan goes through.
Absolutely.
And plays against Arsenal.
No, we will not.
There'll be 2 very upset faces here, I'm sure.
Yes, it will just be James and Laird. We will not be there. We will be on strike.
Don't worry, we'll just have a party. We'll have fun.
If there is a future game like Arsenal against Manchester, I just want to get invited, so I'll tell you my opinion.
Yeah, sounds good.
You can't win though, because you're gonna be pissing somebody off regardless.
It's always like this. But it's fun. It's fun to piss people off.
Oh, good stuff.
And remember, as always, with our episodes, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. And every Wednesday, just be sure to look out as new episodes will be released.
Okay, see you guys later.
Good stuff. Take care, guys.
Thank you, guys.